that tone when they're frustrated, eye rolls during conversations, conflicts that leave you hanging because it's not worth fighting about. These feel like normal marriage moments, right? Wrong. What you're actually doing is slowly poisoning each other's brain chemistry. Every eye roll, every unresolved fight, every moment of invalidation is rewiring your nervous systems to see each other as enemies. And by the time you realize what's happening, the damage might be irreversible. You're doing everything right. No affairs, no screaming, no nagging, no dramatic betrayals. Your friends probably think you have it figured out. You're the ideal couple, right? But you're dying inside. You pass each other in the hallway like polite strangers. Sex feels like checking off a chore. You catch yourself fantasizing about being single again. Then you feel guilty for even thinking it, but you're going to think it again tomorrow. The person that you're married to is sitting there 3 feet away, and you've never felt more alone in your life. What's terrifying is that you can't really pinpoint exactly when it started, and you certainly can't figure out how to make it stop. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I've spent 16 years studying something that terrifies most marriage counselors: the moment when couples cross from fixable problems into permanent neurological damage. I've worked with over 1,600 couples myself, and I can tell you this: the ones who save their marriages aren't the ones who communicate better. They're the ones who understand that they're dealing with brain trauma, not relationship issues, and they act before the damage becomes irreversible. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 everyday behaviors that are killing your marriage right now, and how to know if you're already past the point of no return. Most couples don't realize that they've crossed into irreversible damage until it's too late. And what I'm about to share with you will either save your marriage or confirm it's time to start planning your exit. You're going to know exactly where your marriage stands, which wounds you can still heal, and whether you're wasting your time trying to fix something that's already beyond dead. I will warn you, this video here today is not going to have comfortable information in it, but it's better to know the truth than to waste years of your life in a marriage that's well beyond repair. Now, I'm going to get into the wounds here in a moment, but first, we have to talk about hidden neurological damage. Here's what that actually means. Most couples, they focus on surface level behaviors. They miss the underlying neurological brain destruction that happens when those behaviors are present. Your brain doesn't distinguish between emotional wounds and physical trauma. Both trigger an identical stress response in your nervous system. Every wound that you inflict on each other as a couple creates a cortisol association. Your brain associates your spouse as a source of danger. You make me hurt. You associate pain and agony with their presence, their voice, their smell, everything about them. And that cortisol association destroys your chances of connecting. Now, every wound floods your system with this cortisol, the same hormone released when you're being physically attacked. This cortisol, by the way, when it's present, blocks your oxytocin receptors. Oxytocin being that bonding hormone that gives you a sense of belonging, connection, affection, and warmth. That blocks in the presence of cortisol. So the more cortisol you associate with your partner, the more your receptors lock tight and shut in their presence. So that even if you go in doing date nights and talking to each other and trying to have fun, your receptors are clenched shut and won't let you bond with them. You cannot feel connected or safe because your brain won't let you. Then your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, starts cataloging your spouse's behaviors as dangerous and malicious, even when they're not. Now, unfortunately, many couples where both people are trying to be good and loving, and there's not a villain in the piece, even good couples, they don't see these wounds coming. These wounds can develop so gradually over time that your brain adapts to the damage. You think growing apart is sad but normal, and you just accept the decline because it's so gradual. You're focused on the relationship problems while your nervous systems are quietly building walls against your partner. By the time you notice the emotional distance, really feel it, years of neurological damage have already occurred. And the scariest part, these 7 wounds we're about to talk about, they often look like normal relationship behaviors that we've all come to expect in our Western world, where marriage is laughed at and spit on. You might be causing brain trauma right now and think it's normal and have no idea of what's coming. So it's time to go through the 7 hidden wounds that kill your marriage. Wound number 1, invalidation. Telling a person what they're feeling isn't real or isn't important. I know it seems minor, and we do this a lot, but it creates massive neurological damage. Your partner's nervous system starts viewing emotional openness with you as dangerous. Sending the message of, I don't care about your pain and I'm not going to help you fix it, turns you into their enemy. Now, what does invalidation look like? This is what I'm feeling. No, that's not how it is. This is what it feels like to me. No, you're a liar. This is how bad it is. No, that's not really happening. Stop exaggerating. That's not it. You're wrong. Invalidating. I don't care that you're hurting. Here's how I see it, and that's all that matters. Most of us don't mean to do this. We do it when we're stressed, we're already upset, we're agitated, we feel defensive, we feel attacked. Your brain interprets this, though, as abandonment. You're not important. I don't care what you have to say. You're in pain. Sucks to be you. Not my problem. When we invalidate our partner, your partner's nervous system learns they can't trust you to speak up or with problems, concerns, sadness, hurt, their inner world at all. I am hurting. I am sad. I am scared. Shut up. That's the message. Shut up. This is invalidation. Now, validation, the opposite of this, does not mean, wow, you're right. That's exactly how it is. I will do anything. No. I am truly sorry that you feel that, and let's find a way to make it right. Some people will stop at, I'm sorry you feel that way. Validation is, I'm actually sorry that you feel that way because I care about you and I don't want you to be hurting. I don't know that I agree that that's what's happening, but if that's what you feel, then let's deal with it. How can we take care of you so you don't feel that way anymore? That's validation. Invalidation is anything short of that, okay? Your nervous system learns, you make my pain worse. Wound number 2 comes with a stack of invalidation, unresolved conflicts. As you let these conflicts linger, this is a problem. No, that's not how it is. It builds up for 3, 5, 10 years. That's not how it is, so we're not going to solve it. Unresolved conflicts that just blow up. You have a big fight, you stop, and you can't fix it, so now you can't talk about it anymore. These unresolved conflicts linger for a really long time. And what happens? You both try to pretend everything's fine. This creates ongoing neurological stress and tension and fear, and it starts blocking your oxytocin receptors from each other. Unresolved issues become a cortisol trigger that activates whenever something related comes up, any related topic at all, which keeps the nervous system in a chronic state of hypervigilance around their partner. Even worse than this is the male brain doesn't relate to problems very well, so it doesn't see that this one thing is related to this arguing match they've had for 5 years. The female brain makes massive connections. So if he's been invalidating her and not resolving issues for 10 years, everything ever connected to that reminds her of that core wound all the time. I get asked all the time, what is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? So I have finally launched the attachment assessment. This is not a short quiz that just spits out an answer after 3 seconds. This is a thorough, in-depth, science-backed assessment. Check it out on my website, adamlanesmith.com, and learn your attachment style, the severity of what you're dealing with, and some next steps you can take right now to build very secure attachment. So unresolved conflicts poison your ability to love each other and care about each other and feel safe around each other. Safety and peace is gone at this point. This is when wound number 3 starts happening. Scorekeeping. Your brains start tracking what you do for them versus what they do for you, or more accurately, what they fail to do for you. You have pluses in your categories, they have all minuses in theirs. Your brain doesn't track what they do, only what they don't. Your brain doesn't track what you don't do, only what you do. The score is inevitably going to skew bad. It seems logical. I should just kind of keep track of how invested we are. But it doesn't actually keep track of how invested you both are. You're just tracking your arbitrary metrics, and then it destroys your bonding. Okay, this is really bad. Everything becomes transactional. Scorekeeping creates selective blindness where you become neurologically unable to notice your partner's positive contributions at all while becoming hyper aware of their failures and shortcomings. I'll give you 2 examples. One, is the angry husband who works extensive overtime and says, you just lounge around at home all day. You don't even work. You're just having fun. You're relaxing. I'm working like a dog. And the moment I come in the door, all you do is bark, bark, bark at me. I do everything for you and you never even show me an ounce of kindness. Let's take the opposite. The wife who feels like her husband is constantly gone all the time, working, and never shows any emotional intimacy whatsoever, as she is maintaining the entire household, the family, the emotional connections, pursuing him to do all the relationship maintenance. I am always upkeeping our relationship. I'm tracking everybody's life. I'm exhausted from the mental load. You just go to work and then you come home and act like king of the house, like we're all supposed to serve you. You do very little for us. Nothing. Both sides. Maybe you heard yourself in that one. This is how both sides begin scorekeeping and feeling like the victim where the other person is the villain. That's cortisol association, by the way. Scorekeeping turns you into the victim and the other person into the villain who's attacking you. Now you're the hero of the story who gets to rise up and push back against them. That's filing for divorce, by the way. You lose the ability to see any kindness in your partner, any of their efforts, any of their contributions. Who was right in that scenario that you just saw? Was it the husband working overtime to provide for the family? Was it the wife maintaining the mental load and the connections in the family? Who was the good one who contributed everything, 100%? Who contributed 0? Turns out they're both contributing and caring for each other, and they're both sad, and they're both lonely. That's probably the majority of couples I see come in, by the way. Now, the next step, wound number 4, is emotional withdrawal. And I don't mean just you step away or you're tired, whatever it is. You start pulling away emotionally, which creates injury in your partner's nervous system. It registers as rejection trauma. A withdrawal creates a cycle. Your partner's pursuit of connection feels suffocating, so you withdraw. This withdrawal creates a cycle. Your partner's pursuit of connection feels suffocating while you're burned out, so you withdraw even more, which triggers even more desperate pursuit behaviors that justify your continued withdrawal. And then when they stop pursuing, you start chasing and they withdraw, and you start chasing more and they withdraw. Usually my couples come in like this. One tries to connect, gets burned, pulls back. The other says, oh no, they were trying to connect. So they try to connect and then they get burned and say, well, screw that. I'm not trying. And they say, oh no, you were trying to connect. And they go back and forth like this, trying to connect and always feeling like they're the one that's doing all the work. Most couples, each one feels like they're the one doing all the work. Very few times do I ever have a couple come in and say, yeah, you do all the work. And it's not, I do everything, and actually mean it usually either, by the way. You can't really do everything in a relationship. All those absolutes like that, that's just you with the cortisol association hating your partner or them hating you. Now, as you go through this withdrawal, that hidden damage, your partner's attachment system, if you have attachment issues, usually, goes into panic mode. Creates desperation, angry behaviors, wounding. Why do you keep rejecting or abandoning me? I tried to engage in physical intimacy with you tonight and you slapped my hand away. I will never initiate sex again. I tried to hold your hand and you pulled away. I will never try to hold your hand again. Right? It's this. Connect, no, connect, no, connect, no. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's that back and forth over and over and over until you both feel rejected, you both feel unloved, and you both feel frustrated and alone. Now, wound number 5 is similar, but it's kind of exhaustion. Neglected connection. Repeatedly shutting down attempts to connect, like we just talked about, because you're tired, you're run down. You're busy. When both of your nervous systems are feeling hurt, you begin to feel fatigue and exhaustion. Then you reject even more than you were doing before. You stop even trying, both of you. Each rejection feels like micro traumas that accumulate over time until both of you stop trying completely. Now that it's not anyone trying, it's people backed off totally. This is not just a loss of that oxytocin bonding hormone that we otherwise would buffer you against some of the issues on this list. It's pain from feeling unwanted, unloved, emotionally starved. The damage here is that your brain learns reaching out at all equals pain. So both of you completely stop reaching at all. And that's the death of intimacy right there. Now, this leads very quickly into wound number 6 as the cortisol association begins to flood. Disguised disrespect, barely disguised. This goes back to the beginning of this video. Eye rolling, sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments, mocking disguised as humor. I have some couples that come in and they report, Adam, we watched your videos on marriage and love, and when it got to the part about the spouse giving them intimacy and safety, they looked at me and said, yeah, that would be nice. Right? Even trying to get better causes these wounds. It appears somewhat harmless and sometimes laughing it off, but it destroys the respect and safety pathways in the brain. This creates what researchers call contempt. It's the strongest predictor of divorce. Number one, according to the Gottman studies. Contempt, you are beneath me. You are not even human anymore. I don't owe you dignity or kindness because you're not worth it. Contempt is the number one strongest predictor of divorce. One of the most powerful wounds is this one right here. It sets you up for tremendous pain, anger, rage. It activates fight mode, even in peaceful partners. It's you walking along and someone comes up and stabs you in the side with a knife for no reason. The hidden damage, your brain starts seeing your partner as an active, aggressive predator beneath you, but they think they're better than you. And you now have to beware of living with a dangerous predator in your home who will come and find ways to hurt you without warning. They're not just hurting you during arguments. They're hurting you for fun whenever they find you. Basically bullying. And if you're the one doing this in your marriage, you might be, you are bullying your partner the same way. And they're going to treat you that way. I know that a lot of the people watching this show right now have had attachment issues for their entire life. That's why I want to invite every single one of you to check out my attachment repair program. It just might be the jump that you need to go from insecurely attached and lonely and frustrated to fully secure, connected, and bonded in a great relationship like nothing you've ever felt before. Check out my website, adamlanesmith.com, for the attachment repair program. Now, this last wound, it's wound number 7, and I hesitated even to put it on this list because it's so, frankly, it's so brutal and divisive. It's horrible. Performative intimacy. And I don't mean faking it in the bedroom. I mean going out and acting like everything's great in public. You talk to your friends. Oh, yeah, everything's great. We're going on trips. Oh, yeah, we love each other. It's wonderful. Maybe even go to couples therapy. And you're like, no, it's great. I want to do everything. I'm so ready and so committed. While you have zero real emotional closeness privately. It creates a massive cognitive dissonance. It confuses your bonding systems, right? Well, he said he wants to connect with me and build bonding in couples therapy, but then when he got home, all he did was scream at me and tell me how dare I bring up problems in couples therapy. It makes the partner look like a deceiver and a liar if they ever go to open up to anybody, which is somewhat part of the problem and part of the reason doing this. It creates questioning about their honesty and things they've said. This is where people begin to feel gaslighted. Gaslight is a term I use very carefully. It means they are intentionally misleading you to confuse you so that you can't actually act back against their aggressive behaviors while convincing you that they have your best interests at heart. So they are lying to you on purpose to get you to lower your guard so that they can hurt you intentionally. That's gaslighting. The hidden damage here, your brain cannot form secure attachment because intimacy feels fake, and you don't trust them to be truthful. They are now a liar in your eyes, and you see them lying, and you never want to trust them again. The biggest damage here is when the person, and I have plenty of these couples, the person actually says, oh my gosh, I finally get it. I really want to change. And their partner goes, yeah, I've heard this one a lot. I've heard this one for the last 20 years. I'm not interested anymore. And they go, no, I mean it this time. I feel it. I really get it. And I look at them and I'm like, wow, this person gets it. And I look at their partner and the partner's like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. Thank you, but no, thank you. And even now that it could be saved, that damage is too extensive because they've damaged their ability to ever trust again. Now, do you really want to know the worst reason why this is terrifying? Once these wounds, especially this last one, creates enough neurological damage, your brain will resist the relationship repair process even when you try to fix things. In fact, the damage can be so severe that even if you both agree sincerely to give it your best shot, your cortisol association can sabotage your best efforts as a couple and you just keep fighting. Now, the neurological damage that I'm describing here compounds every single day that you leave it untreated. Each wound makes your brain more convinced that your partner is a threat and more resistant to bonding attempts with them. The exact repair process that I teach in my How to Build a Secure Marriage video course can reverse even severe neurological damage, though, in couples. Couples who save their marriages are the ones who understand they're dealing with that brain trauma, not relationship problems. So what I'm sharing next about stopping that damage is just a preview of the complete repair system. Don't stop now. Make sure you click the link in the description below, because that course could be the difference between saving your marriage and losing it forever. And when I say brain trauma, I don't necessarily mean blunt force brain trauma, but the neurological pathways, the neurological roads in your brain that map partner to threat. That's that trauma response to your partner forming in your brain right now. Now, you've watched this far. Adam, you're asking, what the heck do I do about this? We're going to go through the repair process that most couples skip. Okay. And I'm going to be very clear. You can't just start being nicer or communicating better or going on dates or buying nice lingerie when there's neurological damage. You have to actively repair the threat associations that your brain has built up around each other. This is going to require both partners to acknowledge the specific wounds that you've created without turning it into a blame session. And then committing to unified repair work that proves safety to both nervous systems. Now, most couples fail because they try surface level fixes like date nights and love languages while their brains are still categorizing each other as enemies. That's what we need to fix. So we must address the neurology first. Your nervous system, if we don't, is going to sabotage every attempt at connection until you prove to your brain that your partner is safe rather than threatening. And that requires consistent, predictable, positive interactions over time. Unfortunately, traditional couples therapy usually fails. 50% failure rate is what the research seems to indicate, because it focuses on changing behaviors without addressing the underlying neural pathways that drive those behaviors or resolving the cortisol association. So you end up fighting against your own biology as you're desperately trying to connect with each other. That's why a lot of couples end up worse after couples therapy. The breakthrough, though, comes when you understand that you're essentially retraining two brains to see each other as allies instead of as threats, which requires very specific reprogramming protocols that work with your neurobiology rather than against it. Now, when I have couples come into my coaching practice that want to work with me, I follow some very specific steps. I'm going to lay them out for you right now. Okay. Step one of resolving this is naming each wound honestly, but without attack language. Hey, we've been invalidating each other for a long time, and it's creating distance between us. Or even better, invalidation in our marriage has really created a lot of wounds, and we need to resolve that together. Rather than, you always dismiss my feelings. The situation is the issue. The partner's not the issue. If you want to destroy your marriage, make your partner the problem. See how that works for you, okay? They are the problem, Adam. Cool. Let's see how that works for you. But if you want to resolve this, the invalidation is the problem. The situation is the problem. The situation is the issue. The invalidation in our marriage is creating distance between us, and we need to resolve that as a couple. Not, you always dismiss my feelings. This is crucial, okay? You have to name the wounds. I usually have couples list out 3 top areas that are hurting them the most. 3 top friction points. The invalidation, the eye rolling, the disrespect, whatever it might be. List out your 3. Now you put them together. You've got 6 key areas to start fixing. Now, step 2 is to completely eliminate those behaviors that create the cortisol associations. No more sarcasm. No more unresolved conflicts, no more emotional withdrawal during difficult conversations. I tell my couples, if you want to ruin your marriage and have a $1 million loss from your marriage just going down the toilet, losing your home, your family, your kids, cool. Keep being passive aggressive. If you don't want that to happen, you must stop passive aggressive comments today, right now. So which one do you want? Do you want the divorce and the financial loss and hurting your children? Or do you want to maybe control those passive aggressive behaviors? Which one do you like? It's your choice. Most people tend to opt to stop passive aggressive behaviors at that point. And I'm only that harsh on couples when I absolutely have to be. And some people need it, quite frankly, to be honest with you. But as we get rid of those unresolved conflicts and stop the bleed, all of a sudden the cortisol associations at least pause and they can begin to diminish. Now, what's amazing is step 3, flooding your relationship with positive bonding experiences that prove safety to both of your nervous systems. Prioritizing first, resolving the cortisol, but magically, as you resolve the cortisol as a team, your brain releases a bonding hormone called vasopressin, which says, you're not my enemy, you're my ally. I was hurting and you helped me. I was suffering and you stood beside me. You solved it with me. We are allies. Now, this bonding hormone makes you actually want to be monogamous, connected, and loving. And that releases your oxytocin receptors to open up again, instead of being shut with cortisol, to open up. Now you want to feel belonging, affection, warmth, intimacy. And then you can begin date nights and play and fun and sharing and laughing because you have safety. This means now prioritizing connection rituals that trigger oxytocin and rebuild your love and trust on a neurological level. Now, you must follow this exact pathway. Name the issue, resolve the issue, build vasopressin, build oxytocin. It has to go in that order, okay? Most couples therapy gets stuck at complaining about the problems and blaming each other. You make me feel X. No, use I statements. I feel like I hate you, right? Doesn't really seem to go anywhere. It's just rehashing miseries, okay? Okay, you hate each other. Go on a date tonight, right? Dates, oxytocin. No, fix the cortisol association. Name the circumstance and the situation, unite against it, fix it, vasopressin bonding, oxytocin bonding. That's the order. Now, once you understand that these marriage problems are actually neurological problems and injuries disguised as relationship issues, everything changes. You stop trying to fix the symptoms and you start repairing the neurological pathways that are driving your problems. And that's where your marriage really begins healing and becoming loving and intimate again. Now, I'll be really clear, more clear than I possibly can be, right? This is going to be it. The distance you're feeling isn't because you've fallen out of love or because you're incompatible. It's because your brains have been trained through repeated wounds to protect you from each other instead of bonding with each other. And now they're blocked from bonding. This isn't your fault, but now that you understand what's really happening, it is your responsibility to fix your side of it. The good news is that neurological damage like this can be completely reversed when both people understand the repair process, when they commit to doing the work consistently as a team. Your marriage isn't doomed because you have these wounds. Every couple has wounds at some point. The difference between marriages that thrive and marriages that die is whether the couples understand they're dealing with this trauma cycle and then take specific steps together to heal it. That's the difference. Now, what I've shared today about hidden neurological damage is critical, but knowing the wounds is only half of that battle. The real question is, can your marriage be saved, or is it too late? I've created a system that shows you exactly how to repair neurological damage together as a couple and rebuild the secure attachment your marriage desperately needs. My How to Build a Secure Marriage video course contains the specific repair protocols that I use with couples whose marriages were already declared dead by multiple other couples therapists, and 99.8% of those couples went on to completely transform their relationships. It's the exact neurobiological repair process that saves marriages even when everything else has failed. Now, if your marriage is worth fighting for, and I believe that pretty much every marriage is worth fighting for, there's a link in the description below for that course. And make sure you subscribe to this channel because understanding these hidden attachment wounds is just the beginning of what you need to know. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, ring the little bell so you get notifications, get your copy of the marriage course so you can repair your marriage today, and leave a comment below. Let me know. Do you see any of these wounds in your marriage right now? I'll be there.